Hey, thanks for making it to Veterans Info Tap. I just got done doing a video. It's kind of long. It was 20 minutes long or so. And toward the end is where we really kind of got into some of the nuts and bolts and the misalignment of things. Essentially, what we're looking at is veterans who utilize the VA loan program are essentially being treated differently than those using other traditional loans. So meaning that in the event that you fall into a financial hardship, you can't make your payments on time, you try to work with your lender. If you are a non-veteran or you're somebody not using a VA loan, you have more options to combat foreclosure and work with your lender to basically get things corrected. If you're a veteran who's utilizing your VA home loan, a benefit in which you earned, well, guess what? Those options don't exist, and oh well, come to the table with your money or we're going to foreclose on you is basically where the lender comes from, because the VA apparently ended a program, the PCP program, that would allow a little more flexibility, we'll say. So a very dicey situation. There is some efforts being made at the VA to correct this misalignment, we'll call it, and give the ability to have more options for veterans when it comes to avoiding foreclosure. However, right now, according to the article that I just read in the video right before this, there are approximately 6,000 veterans who are currently in foreclosure, or VA home loans that are currently in foreclosure, and there's another 34,000 VA home loans that are currently in a delinquent status, which means that they're potentially on the road to foreclosure. Now, you're talking 4 to 5 months until the VA can correct or put into place some new, I don't know what you want to call it, regulations, new avenues in which the lenders can then work with the VA home loan to avoid foreclosures. So that's a lot of time, and that's not it's not fast enough for some people. So some people are going to slip into the real situation of losing their home. Now, on that note, there may be other options. If you really want to try to save your home, contact your lender. And this is usually where people kind of will fall off the rails, right? You're in a bad situation, you fall a couple months behind, you're getting the phone calls from your lender, and you're not returning any phone calls, and you're not talking to anybody, and you just try to avoid it. Not necessarily the greatest move. There may be options with your lender. Give them a call, have that conversation. It's better to have the conversation than not. Some people will have multiple loans, a first and a second, or a first and a home equity line of credit. Contact your lenders for both and have the conversation with them. There may be some sort of internal hardship applications that you can complete, that type of stuff. And then also the opportunity to potentially do a loan modification might make sense. It's hard to say, but you don't know what options are out there until you have the actual conversations with the lender specifically, or credit union, whoever you're going through as your mortgage servicer, so whoever you're making your payments to. Now, the other opportunity here is if you are in a tight situation and you know that you just can't keep the home, and you don't necessarily want a foreclosure, but let's say that you're very tight with being able to sell the house. Like you might be, you might owe a few $1,000s, $10, $15, $20,000 more than what you think you're going to be able to get for the house. And you're like, I can't even sell the house. Have a conversation with a realtor, a listing agent, somebody who can sell your house for you, and have the discussion with them. And again, these are hard conversations. It sounds easy, but nobody likes to have the conversation of, hey, look, I'm in a financial bind. I don't have money. I'm upside down, all these things, right? Nobody likes those. But having that the realtors have heard it all, so it's not like you're going to be the first one of these stories, first of all. But have that conversation and let them know that you have a VA home loan that is assumable. Now, oftentimes, realtors aren't going to have all the information. There may be realtors out there that have no clue that your loan is assumable and what that really means. And usually what I see is the first thought to somebody who hasn't dealt with this, right? To a realtor that hasn't really dealt with it is, well, it's going to have to be a veteran buyer. So that's a smaller pool. It might be hard to do it. And what an assumable loan is they will, in fact, take your loan and just gets transferred into their name, the buyer, with the same interest rate. And that's why this is important, because most people who are going into foreclosure today have lower interest rates than the current market. In some cases, you're going to see people in the mid 2s, or maybe 3%. So this is a very, very lucrative interest rate for folks that are looking to buy a house. So somebody who can afford we'll just use easy numbers. Somebody who could afford a $500,000 home today, right? $500,000, we'll say loan, $500,000 loan, and we'll just say that it's the same as the price, right? We'll just go 100%. $500,000 loan today with today's interest rate, well, with your interest rate at 3%, right? And you're selling your house for, $650,000, the payments would be the same. And ish, right? I didn't do the calculations, but that's the idea, right? All of a sudden now this person who's going to assume your loan is getting more house than they would have been able to for the same price, right? So that's a very, very important thing. Now, the reality is that it does not have to be a veteran who assumes your loan. It's assumable to anybody. The difference is that if your loan gets assumed by a buyer who is not a veteran or doesn't have any sort of VA home loan guarantee, right? Then you lose your VA home guarantee loan benefit. That VA home loan benefit goes away for you, and it disappears with your loan until your loan gets paid off by whoever assumes it. So it's kind of like it's being utilized, right? So your home loan benefit is being utilized by whoever assumes your loan, unless it's a veteran who buys your house. If the veteran buys your house, then they'll utilize their VA home loan benefit, and then basically that will then transfer yours back to you and you have yours again. So that's important. My thought here is, I'll end it with this, is that with the misalignment between how other lenders or other loans, the civilian sector will say, the non-VA guaranteed loans have more options available to them to avoid foreclosure. That's something that we really need to think about. And we need to have that conversation with our congressional leaders to help speed up the process at the VA. Sure, they have something, quote unquote, in place to be basically up and running in 4 or 5 months. Well, what's going to happen to everybody between now and then? So I think that that's a call to action for our congressional representatives to give a little push on the VA side and give them whatever they need to expedite that process for our veterans of this nation, right? So with that, thank you so much for watching. I appreciate each and every one of you. Have a great one. And remember, if we don't take care of each other, something went wrong.